Fun to see some familiar faces and names. Great.
Here we go. Okay, well, it's right at 7. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to record this, so there will be a recording, a replay for anybody that can't make it right on time. I know we had quite a few signed up, and some people just have a hard time getting in. So I just want to say welcome. This is John Lee with the St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. This is our first of our 4-part series of our professional premier series, which we're really glad to have Jan Duke tonight. She's going to talk about, well, she's from Duke Homes, LLC, and she's going to talk about evaluating the local real estate now, short and long term. And we welcome you. I just want to say a couple things before we get started. Our president, Lloyd, he's in the hospital, and it's non-COVID related. He sent me a text this morning, and so we do want to give him our thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery. I do also want to just mention, and a lot of you already know, that we do have our Friday meetings, our St. Louis court update with Kathy Davis of the law firm of Davis and Travellini LLC. And many have been attending. We do have the replays for our members also on the website. We are going to have a couple of help sessions coming up. One is on appliance part discounts. We have a special thing we just worked out with them, and I'll give you a little bit more information on that in a couple of emails that we'll have, and also pest controls. So I think that's about it. So Jan, if you'd like to get started, it's all yours, and thank you for being here.
Great, I'll be happy to do that. Can you hear me okay, John?
Yes, you're great.
Excellent, good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And John, kudos to you for putting this together and for all your wonderful work during these unusual times, keeping our association together and meeting regularly. It's a treat to see all these great faces, and for all those of you who are joining by audio, welcome as well. Good, well, please know at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat link. And we hope that you will be asking questions during this presentation. So anything that comes to thought, go ahead and just shoot it out there. And I believe you can direct it to everyone, or you can direct it to just John Lee as the host, and he'll ask me. So either way, however it's easiest for you. And I'll continue to monitor those questions as well. Good, well, I feel like I know some of you know me, but just to give you a brief update and background on my experience, I am a lifestyle entrepreneur, which means for the last 32 years, I have been a real estate investor, and I feel like I've done everything real estate. So buy, fix up and sell, hard money lending, rental properties, lease options, you name it. I feel like I've done it if it involves real estate. And it's been a joyous journey. I feel like I've gained so much in my 32 years of knowledge, and I'm constantly learning. And one of the ways I continue to learn is through these great club meetings. So kudos to all of you who are attending these regularly, because it's a wonderful network group. I've been thinking lately about how important our joy is. And to me, it's a real measure of how well I'm doing. And I just think we need to continue to keep good attitudes and be grateful for all the resources that we do have during these unusual times. So I've been thinking a lot about how the measure of my success is my joy. And if I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it right. So I keep thinking about what I need to do to perfect my systems so that I truly am enjoying what I'm doing, even in these unusual times. I'm fortunate enough right now to be at our beach home in Coronado in San Diego, California. And I come out here often, and it's been a privilege this particular time because even though I always bring my work with me, I haven't been able to bring my real estate association with me. So this is a treat to have you all here in San Diego. And we do have to look for these opportunities to do things differently and to find the joy that comes along with them. When we moved to California, I'm sorry, from California to St. Louis 18 years ago, my main focus was on high-end renovations, and specifically in West County. So Ladue schools, Frontenac, Ladue, Creve Coeur. I've given several presentations at our club with lots of fun pictures, and I actually have one property that I'm going to highlight here for you tonight. But I also want to talk to you about where I've been heading the last couple years, which is towards rental properties. And then as John says, I also want to give you what I consider to be a state of the market address. And what I see is where we are and where we're going. So as I said, I really consider myself a lifestyle entrepreneur. And the reason I am an entrepreneur is for the freedom. I love how we can take our work with us. I tell people I only work half time, but I get to choose which 12 hours a day I work. and the nice part about being an entrepreneur is that freedom and choosing when it is you work. It's kind of fun. I had a Zoom meeting a couple of weeks ago, and you know, this quarantine hasn't been all that different for me because I've always had my office in my home. And so for me, it hasn't been a huge challenge being at home and self-quarantine. But as I said, it's been different having the Zoom come into my office and my home. And it was kind of fun. A few weeks ago, I was in a Zoom and I was dressed from the waist up, but had my pajama pants on. And then all of a sudden someone said, oh, I need to share something that you need to print. And so I went ahead and printed it and realized, oh no, when I stand up and go get that, everyone on this meeting is going to know that I still have my pajama pants on. But I thought, well, I got to do it. So I did it. And the funny part is nobody made a comment. And I think it's because most of us were dressed the same way. I see some heads nodding. So it's kind of fun to be able to be so casual with each other and just see that this is the way we live and the way we can experience our work is through a very casual, fun setting. So let's talk a little bit about where the market is right now. So St. Louis announced that pending sales in April fell 25% compared to last year's levels. And they announced that that listings had followed a similar trend and had also fallen about 26% from the previous year. But then last month in May, these two indicators showed some signs of a turnaround, suggesting that home buying was actually doing quite well and was starting to rebound. So I think most people would agree that there's still some uncertainty, but that the market is still strong. I think some of that is muscle memory. I think a lot of people are still doing real estate the way they've always done it. And that the market's been good in blessing us these past couple of years, and I think we're still expecting it to do the same right now. I know I put two properties on the market this last month, and one in Town and Country and one in Creve Coeur. And the one in Town and Country went on under contract right away. The one in Creve Coeur, which you'll see some pictures of tonight, has not gone under contract yet, which has surprised me because it's all brand new everything, and I really thought we'd sell it right away. So I feel like that alone is unusual, but these are unusual times. Fortunately for the market, we have very low inventories and we have very low interest rates. The buyers of our Town and Country home, I just got their loan approval a couple days ago, and they took out a 15-year loan at 2.5%. It's crazy. I know another loan I saw come across last week, and it was a 30-year loan at 3.2%. Boy, that's like free money, being able to borrow money that low. So I think as long as interest rates remain low and inventory remains low, fortunately, we're going to have a strong market and be able to sell property. I also give a bit of a caveat here, and that I do think the market is being artificially suppressed in that we have a moratorium on evictions and foreclosures. So as many of you know, and for those of you who are signing into the great meetings that John's hosting on, is it Fridays, John, with the attorney?
Friday mornings at 11. Yes, yes, Jan.
Friday mornings at 11, you get a great update on what's going on and what we can do as real estate investors in these times. And we're not allowed to file any evictions or foreclosures, which means that, yes, these dear tenants and home buyers have a bit of a reprieve, but I don't know how many of them are able to save the money that they should be paying right now to go towards their rent when that moratorium lifts, or if it's just going to cause a greater challenge for them in months to come. And if that happens, what we're going to see is foreclosures increase. And it only takes 1 or 2 foreclosures in a neighborhood for that neighborhood to experience some serious declines in values. So I think we all have to be very cautious right now with our purchases. If you have properties you're thinking of selling, this would be a really good time to put them on the market. As you all know, St. Louis is extremely seasonal, and we are in the height of our seasonal market. So this would be a great time to put those houses and condominiums on the market and see if they sell at the prices you want them to. It's also a very strong rental market right now. I'm having no problem renting properties, and they're renting very quickly at very high prices. I'm seeing some nods from other investors that are agreeing with that. It seems like there's a lot of people that are wanting to rent and are willing to pay top dollar, especially our niche is creating like new rentals, and people will pay a premium for those. I know we had a house rent this last week where the folks decided that they could sell their house now at the height of the real estate market and rent our house, and then just wait a year or two and see what happens to the market and see if they want to get back in. So there's nothing wrong with pushing the pause button and taking an opportunity to see what happens. John, I just got a text from someone saying, do you know the password to get in? I don't think there is a password, is there?
Should be pretty simple. I don't know. Do you know? Do you know who
Okay.
that is? I could send him a link.
That's Melanie Claiborne.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. Okay.
She's been one of our speakers. Okay, good. I'll let you handle that one.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Jim Heiser, good to see you, Jim, our wonderful past president. Good. All right. So I also think this is a great time to be submitting backup offers.
We did.
And I'm one of the few people that I know that's a big fan of backup offers. And there's a lot of people that are very hesitant to submit backups in St. Louis. And that's almost, it's an oddity, to be honest with you. I've done real estate in a lot of different areas, Illinois, lots in California. Every other region encourages backup offers, and agents spend time doing backup offers. For some reason in Missouri, we're very reluctant to submit backup offers. But have you folks been seeing how many properties are coming back on market? And so I know I've gotten some of my best purchases through backup offers. It's kind of fun. The first house I ever bought, goodness, in the 80s, I was driving along, saw a beautiful house. It said under contract. I thought, wow, that looks like a great house. And I went ahead and contacted the agent and said, I'd like to submit an offer. And they said, well, it's under contract, but we'd love to get your backup offer. So I gave them my backup offer and they accepted it. And it's very easy to get backup offers accepted. Sellers like entertaining backups because they want to have their primary buyer perform. So it's a win-win. And then if that buyer doesn't perform, you're in first position to step forward. So with that particular property, That's what happened. The buyers couldn't get their financing. The agent called, said, "Are you still interested?" I said, "Absolutely." I automatically moved to first position, went through the process of getting my financing. All was going great. I was a week away from closing, and I got a call from the agent saying, "Someone else wants to buy this house." And I said, "Well, that's fine, but I'm buying it." And they said, "No, you don't understand. They really want to buy it. You should talk to them." So I talked with them and said, "Well, I guess I could sell you my contract." And they said, "Okay, well, what would you sell it for?" So I thought, well, I'll just start very high. I know they're going to negotiate. So I said, "Well, I'll sell it for 35,000." And he didn't hesitate. He said, "Great, I'll pay you 35,000 for your contract." So that was my first real estate, my first purchase as a real estate investor. So I think because of that, I've always loved backup offers. So I don't hesitate to put them in. And I get an awful lot of backup offers accepted. So take the time, especially with Forms or Us, it is so easy to put together a contract. If you have an agent you're working with who's hesitant to put together a backup offer, you don't have the right agent. So it's very simple to be submitting these backup offers. So this is the time to do it when there's a lot of uncertainty in the market and the good properties are going under contract quickly. Put yourself in line for those properties. And I think you'll be pleased with how those do come through for you. And especially with this being a difficult time to buy properties. You know, as we all know, it's hard to get those good properties. So when you find a good one at a good price, don't be discouraged that somebody got there before you. Get in line, put that backup offer in, and you'll be surprised how you'll probably be first in line. And you'll see some of those come through for you. Okay, now what I think I'm going to do is do a screen share here. And I'm going to show you a project that we have recently put on the market in Creve Coeur. And this is a house that we just listed this last month. And we listed it at $389,000. And I'm going to click share and I'm going to press play. And hopefully you all can see these photos. This is an exterior photo of the house. It's a sweet little ranch house that we purchased directly from the sellers. And wow, do I recommend, that's a great way to be buying houses right now with competition in buyers. If you can work directly with the seller state commission, and you're going to be able to negotiate direct, and it just makes everything nice and easy. And then of course we always make our houses like new. It's cute. I had an agent who showed this house yesterday, and she texted me and she said, "Jan, I had to touch the leaves on those flowers to see if they were real. Everything is so pristine in this house." But that's what we do. We create like new houses. So these are older properties, usually 40 to 60 years old, that we go in and put in can lights. We put in the hardwood flooring, and we are doing a lot of luxury vinyl flooring right now. We have a product we're using from Home Depot called Life Proof that we love, and it's very reasonably priced, and it looks like hardwood, but it wears so well. We also open up these houses so you can see how we just make it so that it has a nice flow-through floor plan. And then we do beautiful neutral colors throughout. Agreeable gray is the color on these walls, one of our favorite colors. And then shoji white is all the trim. Those are Sherwin-Williams colors. I get asked a lot for our color palette. And then we vault the ceilings whenever possible. You'll see we have a little vault there past the kitchen into the little seating area there. And that's the eat-in dining room area. This is a small house. That's why it's priced at only $389,000 in Creve Coeur. It's about 20 feet total, and about 900 of those square feet are in the lower level, which we finished, and you'll see pictures of that. The kitchen, of course, is all open. We took down the walls around the kitchen. We added this kitchen island. Everybody's living in their island right now. So anytime you can add a kitchen island, try and get 4 bar stools. That's our minimum. You'll see 3 here, but there's one around the corner. So this one does have, this kitchen island does seat 4. And we find that these cell houses, we're using very neutral palettes, lots of white cabinets. They're still very popular right now. Always put in the under cabinet lights so that the granite or quartz counters just pop, and always do a fun backsplash. And we don't always put in refrigerators. People ask us about this. You'll see that refrigerator cavity there at the left. Refrigerators are very personal decisions. Some people like side by side, some people like freezer on the bottom. And we find we can, especially in these lower price, if it's not 500,000 or over, we can leave that cavity open and let people choose their own refrigerator or use it for negotiation. So we do that, we're doing that quite a bit, anything under 500,000. And then there at the left, you'll see those are that's the staircase that's leading to the lower level. And we'll get back to that. But this is space that we enclosed. So this had a detached garage. So it was an attached garage, but it did not have access to the house. So we added this little corridor. And so you can go from your garage directly into your house. And then we added these cubbies. Cubbies are one of our signatures. We spent about $200 in materials to build cubbies, and we figured they increase the value of our houses by at least 20,000. People love cubbies. They just keep you organized. It was hard for the photographer to get this photo, or a good photo, I should say. So you can't see the hooks and all, but cubbies are lovely. We also always bring the laundry to the main floor. So this is a closet because we couldn't actually do a laundry room, but this house has a laundry closet so that it is on the main floor. And then master bedroom, very simple. Again, it's a smaller house, so it's got a smaller small master suite. Doesn't even have a tub. We take out the tubs in these small baths and put in really nice showers and just leave the tubs in the second baths. And then put in nice vanities. And second bedroom, again, very simple. We've got these fun panel doors we're using now that we're liking. And then there's the second bath. And this is the downstairs. So this had a totally unfinished basement. And we really like finishing basements because it adds square footage at a reasonable cost. So this space is already under roof. So what we do is we open up the stairwell so it no longer has a door. So when you walk onto those stairs, you feel like you're going into an extension of your home. We don't even use the B word. We don't talk basements. These are all lower levels. So it gives a nice additional space. We always have a big family room. Here we put in a built-in there, you'll see at the left. What that's doing is that's disguising 2 pillars that are in the middle of the room. We will go to great lengths to not have a pillar in one of our basements because it looks like a basement. So we will remove all the pillars in our finished lower levels and we'll encase them. Here we encased this and added a fun little hobby desk that spans between those 2 pillar walls. And then we also try and do the curved soffits that you'll see there in the front top center. Again, so it's just not a stark edge or sharp edge. We want it to be just a curved radius, which just leads you from one part of the finished lower level to another. To your lower levels really well. Put in tons of can lighting and no one will ever know there's no windows there. This is a walkout, and we have the walkout in the bedroom. So we added a bedroom and a bath in this lower level. We put a barn door on that closet.
Hmm.
And then we also added this bathroom, full bathroom. And we always use the same finishes in our lower level that we do on the main level. So again, you feel like you're in an extension of your house. So that's why you can get people to pay top dollar. You'll get people to pay more for your house than any house in the neighborhood because you have similar quality finishes throughout. Okay, so I'm going to stop a screen share of that for now.
Hmm.
And are there any questions? It looks like, do you still make your stairway 36 inches wide? We do. That's our goal.
Mhm.
You're right, Bruce. Yes, that is our goal. And we usually do that. We're pretty good at being able to claim that space. Boy, thank you, someone, for passing a password along. John, did you see that and get that to Melanie by chance?
I seen her come in, so she must have got it. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Good,
we're
good.
good to go. Thank you.
Good. And Laura, you've asked if we've done new construction. The closest I've come to new construction is adding a garage or square footage to a house. I've added a main floor master suite. I've turned an existing garage into a vaulted family room and added a new garage. I have not done new construction. It's not to say it's not a great avenue. It's just I have not learned new construction. My expertise is in renovations. And it's just what I've chosen to do. It's what my contractors do well. It's what my team does. And
Uh-oh. We lost you?
okay, I got muted, but
Did
I
we
just
lose
got
you?
unmuted.
Where you
For
at?
some reason, it just said host muted you, but I unmuted me,
Oh,
John.
okay. Somebody else is doing that. Sorry about that.
No worries,
John,
no worries.
it's me, Diana. And if you have a question, when you open the stairwells to the base downstairs, what if that stairwell is steep? You know, more than just, 8 steps. Do you have any kind of rules around opening it up if it's a fairly steep stairwell?
You know, I've had plenty of steep stairwells, Diana, and some of them even don't have good head clearance. So I do the best I can. Whatever I'm given, I will do the best I can with it. There's sometimes when you just can't do a great stairwell. This one you just saw at this Canes property is a great stairwell, wide and long and plenty of head clearance. So you just have to do the best you can with it. I find that I've been fortunate, even when we haven't had good head clearance, I tend to sell the house to a family that happens to be on the shorter side. So you're going to find a buyer for every property. You just have to search a little bit longer for the right buyer, but there is one right buyer for every property.
Mhm.
Rick
Okay, thanks.
Franklin, sure, Diana. Rick Franklin, hi Jan, thanks for doing this. Can you update me or remind me how much it costs you to do a gut rehab like this? Cost per square foot, I know it varies, so maybe a range if you have it. And what was the flooring? Okay, I use LifeProof flooring, Eric. It's a product that we get from Home Depot, and it's called LifeProof. It comes in all different colors, and it goes down easily, and it's just a great product. Never had a buyer complain about it. And I put it in homes up to probably 600,000. Costs, you know, it is hard for me to do a cost per square foot because every house is so different. And this house that you just saw the pictures of, I'll give you some ideas on that one. We put 120,000 into that renovation. Now that did include adding the square footage of putting that little walkway in. It was already under roof. It had a nice overhang. But that includes everything. That does not include the staging. I have a great relationship with Flair Home Staging. I can get it for any of you. They do a fantastic job for us, and you don't have to pay for the staging until you sell the house. So the title company will cut a check from your proceeds to the staging company. But the 120 on that house included everything else. Permits, did not include carrying costs. And one of the things we'll talk about a little bit tonight is how the reason we're eliminating our carrying costs is we're doing our projects through our IRAs. And I tell you, any of you who are thinking about using your IRAs, it is a great way to go because it gives you an unfair advantage. I really do feel like if I can do these projects and make 20 to 30% more than anyone else because I'm not paying taxes, that almost gives me an unfair advantage. So I'm doing most of our real estate now through our self-directed Roth IRAs. Diana, who you just heard, does this as well. And I know there's several of you that are signed in that also use your IRAs. Jim, you'll be able to speak to this as well. But it's a great way, once you find a custodian, and we have one we use out of Ohio, there's several local as well, but they will handle all the money aspects, and then you'll coordinate the rest. And it's a great way to take control of your money by doing what you do best. And we went ahead and converted all our traditional IRAs to Roth IRAs when the market plummeted the last time. When the stock market went down 07, 08, and our accounts were at their lowest, we decided that's enough. We're tired of giving up control of our money. Let's do what we do best, which is real estate. So my husband and I converted all our Roths to our traditional IRAs to Roth IRAs, and I've used those since then on our projects. So I use those monies to buy renovations, and then of course, you have to use those monies to do the renovations. You have to use those monies to pay the carrying costs. And now that I'm transitioning from the buy, fix up and sell to more passive cash flow, which is rental properties, I'm now using those monies to buy houses that I am fixing up and creating, again, like new houses, but to put tenants in. And then all of the rents that come in on those houses go back directly to the IRA. And once you're 59 and a half, you can pull out those funds at no charge, no taxes, no penalties. So it's a great, great asset, these Roth IRAs. So whatever stage you are in life, if it's a new investor and you're just getting started, boy, start figuring out how you can be putting monies into your Roth IRAs and watch those monies grow. And then once you can do a whole project on your own, that would be a great time to, oopsie, it looks like we've got Dennis McCarty sharing your screen, Dennis. So you might want to pop that off if you can hear me, Dennis. Otherwise, we will be looking at your screen. There you go, Dennis. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, let's see if we've got any other questions here. Kristen, how do you decide whether to flip or create a rental? That's a great question, and it's a great segue into my next section. It depends on how much money I can make. So one of the great things about being a real estate entrepreneur is that you always have options. So fortunately, in my 32 years of real estate investing, I've never lost a dime on a real estate project. Now, I am a very conservative real estate investor. I get that. I think women by nature tend to be a little more conservative with their investing. And I think I'm even more on the conservative side. my parents raised me very well to be very cautious with money. And so if I err on anything, it's on frugality. Can you see my parents? They're raising their thumbs up, right, Mom and Dad? Yes. So what I do when I do a project, I always have in mind what my option A is. But if option A doesn't look like it's the best option as I go into the project, then I can easily switch to option B. Now, these rental properties are great because option A and option B are very similar. Do I buy the property to fix up and sell, or do I buy the property to fix up and keep? So a lot of the most recent ones, I've been buying them to keep just because I've been wanting to build up my rental portfolio, because again, I'm trying to transition to more passive cash flow so I can just collect rent payments and not have to jump to the next big renovation, especially as this market gets a little bit uncertain, and I want to be very cautious about not over myself. So what I'll do is I'll buy these properties and fix them up, and if I decide that they've turned out too well, and I had one last year that's exactly what happened. I had a property that I bought in St. Charles, and it was a sad property in that it had been just trashed on the inside, but it was not a very old property. It's kind of funny, when I showed up, the neighbors were so happy to see me. I had to kind of move the foliage away just to get to the door. And when I came out, I was kind of surprised to see someone in the foliage. Well, fortunately, it was my neighbor. And he said, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you buy this house. He said, let me show you something on the side. So he took me to the side of the house and he said, see that bullet hole through my house? That came from your house. And this was in a great part of St. Charles. This was in Newtown. But it was just some very unusual people living in there that had pretty much barricaded themselves in the house. They lost the house in foreclosure. And when I took it over, they had more ammunition in that lower level that I can describe. Fortunately, some of my contractors were thrilled. They're hunters and they loved the ammunition and the gun safes and whatnot that were there. But it was an interesting family, I think, that was living there. Anyway, I bought this house to fix up and rent, but when I went to lease it, I leased it as a lease option, which I do a lot. Lease options are great because you get high quality tenants who want to treat the house like their own. They want hope. They want to know that they can buy the house when all their ducks are in line. And I'll help them do that because I love turning tenants into homeowners. So I advertised this house as a lease option, which meant that they could pay me $2,500 a month, but anytime during their 2-year option period, they could buy the house for $390,000. And I set the price really high on the lease option. I always do that because a lot can happen in 2 years. A house can appreciate in 2 years. And I don't really want to sell these houses. So if they exercise the option, great. If they don't exercise the option, great. So what happened with this particular one is I had somebody step forward right away and say, we love this house. We'll pay you the $390,000. Well, I had bought this house for $150,000 and we only had to put about $20,000 into it. It really needed very little. It was only about 10 years old. And so it was just, we were able to keep all the cabinets, the shower, the tub. It just needed new carpet, paint, lighting, faucets. You know, it was a pretty easy 4-week renovation. So, you know, with those numbers, making $150,000, I knew that I should sell that one because it would take me more, the calculation I do is it would take me more than 2 years of rents to make more profit than I would on the outright sale. So that's kind of a long answer. Was it Kristen's question to flip or rent? But if I can make more than a 2-year rental profit by selling outright, then I'll do it. And I'll move that money to the next project. So that's what I did with that house. Now, I've also done that recently with a house, and I'm going to go back to my screen share and show you one that we just did in U City a few months ago that turned out quite cute. And this was a house that we bought for $65,000, and these are before and after photos. So the ones on the bottom are the before, the one on the top right is the after. I know they're kind of similar, but you can see it's a new roof, right? And can you see that we painted the door a fun color? And then as you move inside, you'll see more drastic changes. Now this house is staged. Normally we don't stage our rental houses, but we were still on option A, which was to flip this house. And there you'll see the living and the dining. You'll see the kitchen. Look how well that kitchen turned out. And what happened here with the bathroom turned out so well. And when I went to price this house and what was happening in University City, I realized that I could rent this house for much more than I could sell it for. So a house of this size and square footage should rent for about $1,000 to $1,100. But this one is so cute, again, I'll go back, that I decided to rent this one at $1,495 just to see what would happen. And people were knocking down my door. So this little house I rented for $1,495 instead of selling it for a $25,000 profit, because I'll make more than that $25,000 in my 2 years of rental, and then I'll still have it as a long-term investment. So that's what happened with that one. And then maybe what I'll do here is I'll escape this and do a stop share, and then I'll go back, see if there's any questions I need to follow up on. Oh, John says there will be a recording. That's great. What is a good self-directed IRA company? I really like Equity Trust Company. And my daughter and I just recorded a webinar for them. And I just was sent the link yesterday. It's a 25-minute webinar. So anybody who wants that link, what I'll do is if you stay on, I'll put that link in this chat box. And and I'll also put some contact information there as well in case that's a help. Amber Gray, you might need to mute.
There we go. Nope. Did I? Hold on. Where'd you go, Jan?
Okay, I can unmute myself when that happens.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Somebody's pressing buttons there. Okay,
No
there
worries. Okay, do I have a target ROI? I do. With my rental properties, I want anywhere from 10 to 16%. And your next question is going to be, why the range, right? Are any of you asking that? I see some nods. So if it's in a really good area, like I have a condo in Clayton, it's just the least expensive condo in all of Clayton. And I'm really happy with a 10% yield there because that property has appreciated so much in the last 4 years. You know, I bought it for $120,000 and it's already worth $220,000. So I'm happy with 10%. But if it's a house in University City, I'm not sure where all that's going to go to 5 to 10 years from now. I know it's going to hold value, but I really want it to cash flow well. So there I'm looking at a higher 14 to 16%. But those ROI figures are cash on cash, so that does not include any appreciation. That's just cash on cash. How do you determine the rent on a lease option? Really easy. It's standard market rent. And you need to be really careful here, folks, because legislation was passed a few years ago where you cannot offer rent credits to your tenant buyers. It's considered financing, and they can come back to you for triple damages. So when you do a lease option, you're leasing it at market rent. So let's say you were leasing that St. Charles house for $2,500 a month with a lease option price of $390,000. That $2,500 a month that your tenant's paying you, that goes directly to your account. None of that goes back to the tenant buyer when they exercise their option. Now, you should have collected option money from your tenant buyer when they signed the agreement with you, and you want your option money to be 1 to 3%. And that can be applied to their purchase price, but not their rent, only their option money. You need to be really careful on that. Stay out of trouble with lease options. Real simple, just don't give credit towards purchase price from the amount you collect each month. So just charge market rent. Okay, I think we're caught up on the questions there. And so I think what I'm going to do now is go to my 4 to 9 month predictions. So I've always shared that St. Louis is a strong and steady market. You all know that. In the coasts, like where we are here in California, this is a volatile market here. In a good year, we can go up 15 to 20% in value. That's the good news. But what goes up quickly comes down quickly. So in a bad year, we can go down 10 to 20%. Now, your good news in St. Louis is that in a good year, well, actually, let me start. The good news is in a bad year, we only go down 2 to 4%. But the good news, and that's the good news, but the bad news is in gosh, I'm getting this all confused, aren't I? Okay, you know what I'm saying, right? St. Louis, very strong, very stable. In a good year, 2 to 4% increase. In a bad year, only 2 to 4% decrease. Unlike a volatile market like California, where you have huge swings in prices. Now, fortunately, again, you always want to make sure you have option A, B, and C. We had to move into one of our very expensive renovations in California when we were in our very young 30s. We were living in a multi-million-dollar property because that was a house that we were trying to sell, and the market fell out. So this multi-million-dollar property was worth about $500,000 less than it was at the time we started the project. So when that happens, you better make sure you've got other options or aren't doing too many projects at once. But St. Louis, we're not as concerned about that because it's a much safer, more stable market. That said, we also have the advantage over the stock market in that we see these changes happening before they happen. A lot of people ask me about the sabbatical year we took. So when we saw the market start to fall in 07, 08, we decided, boy, the best thing we can do is leave town. And so what we did is we thought of a way to make it profitable. And this might be, and I'll share this, I'll go into just a couple minute detail in case anybody else is in a similar position. We were living in a very expensive 6,000 square foot mansion, and we felt it was at the top of the market. And so what we decided to do was to liquidate because we saw that things were going to start to fall. They'd gone up for a while. It was time trees are not designed to grow to the sky. You know, everything tops off at some point and gets pruned down. And so we decided to go ahead and sell that house as well as a couple investment properties. Now the house, because it was in St. Louis, had not appreciated a whole lot. So yes, we did take our tax-free profit, which is up to $500,000 for married couples, up to $250,000 for single people. So we took a little bit of tax-free profit, but we had some nice profits from some California investment properties that we sold. And so what we did is we rolled those into a nice St. Louis property through a 1031 real estate exchange. And then we knew we had to rent that property out for at least 1 year, ideally 2 tax periods. So what you're doing in a 1031 tax exchange is you're doing a like exchange. So if you're selling rental property, you have to buy rental property. So that's what we did. We sold a couple investment homes in California, and then we bought a really nice rental house in St. Louis. We rented it out for 1 year while we traveled around the world. And then when we came back, our tenant left. We put them on a 1 year rental. It was a good friend of ours. They knew what we were doing and we could trust them with the house. And then we moved into that at the end of that year, those 2 tax cycles. So it was a huge privilege for us because we were able to go down to Mexico for a month and learn Spanish. We had our 5th grade daughter with us. We traveled to Hawaii, to Fiji, to New Zealand, to Australia. We just chased the warm weather. And the fun part was we came back a year later and everything was on sale. So it was a great time to jump back in the market. We had a slightly less expensive home, and we had some cash to work with from selling our large home, and everything had gone on sale. And so it was a great time to get back into the market and start doing more renovations. So just something to think about for those of you who are starting to see the writing on the wall that we've had a lovely run in this real estate cycle. And yes, interest rates are still low. And I think until we see those boost up dramatically, I think we still have some good time left. But eventually we're going to see some adjustments made. I'm going to show you my last couple photos here. And these are of the most recent project that I'm actually doing right now from California. This is a sweet little house that we bought in Overland. And it's one that we are going to be holding as a rental. So this is a sweet little house. For those of you who are interested in rental houses, this is one we bought right out of the MLS. We paid $35,000 for this house. Now you're seeing the after photo here. We put shutters on it. We planted those flowers in the front. We put in the exterior light. We refinished the wood on that front porch, as well as on the back deck. And we painted the inside. So we spent about $3,500 renovating this house just these last couple weeks. Here's the inside. And that's an agreeable gray in shoji white trim for those who joined late. That's our color palette. This is the bathroom, small little bath. Oh, we did put a new vanity in this one. And kitchen, all we did was add kitchen hardware. If you have relatively new cabinets, you can really boost the look by adding knobs and pulls. And we did put a new refrigerator in this one. It had a bad looking refrigerator, but the oven and microwave were great. This is the bedroom. This is a tiny house. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house. It is small, but it has a walk-in closet. Look at that closet, ladies. It's darling. And it has a unfinished walkout basement. And this is the backyard. So we finished stained the wood around that lovely deck. And I'm thinking I may even allow a dog in this property because the flooring is very durable. And this one will lease for probably $795 per month. So it's just a sweet little rental house in Overland. Let me know if anybody knows of anybody who's looking for a sweet little 1-bedroom rental. I'm a great landlord. Okay, I'm going to stop the share on that one. All right. So I'm going to start to wrap things up. So if any of you have some more questions, feel free to post those. And I'm just going to go. Okay, so we talked about being cautious. So I read an interesting statistic recently, and that 92% of Americans do not have 3 months of living expenses. Wow, that really saddened me. And I also read in another study, over 70% of Americans were not financially healthy before this pandemic. So we're going to see some changes take place. I think people are going to start to be more conservative. I think hopefully our debt patterns are going to change. I had this conversation with my parents at lunch today. I think debt has changed a lot over the last couple generations. You know, in their generation, you had a house loan. Occasionally you'd get a car loan. I saw somebody a couple weeks ago take out a loan to buy a dog. You know, that's just wrong. We need to just really start restricting our debt patterns. School debt, another huge challenge. You know, my brother and I, we didn't graduate with school debt. My parents sure didn't graduate with school debt. And I feel like it's just such a common scenario currently. And with people paying 13 to 23% interest, standard interest rates on these consumer debts, it's just scary. So I think we've really got to start educating people. If we don't expect and we don't want the government to keep bailing us out, we've got to figure out how to fix our own situations and make sure that we have that 4 to 6 months of expenses in our emergency funds, so that no matter what comes up, we still have a slush fund and we don't go under. So really, I just think we need to be so cautious and make sure we get out of debt. And it's just very important. I also love this. Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape. I just think these are the times where we really have to be flexible. We need to make sure, and fortunately in real estate, we can be flexible, but we've got to be certain that we are able to move in whatever direction we need to go. You know, option A, B, C, and D. And I've always chosen to be a small entrepreneur because I've always thought it was much easier to maneuver that small water ski boat than that great big cruiser. I just think it's just, there's an advantage to being small. So that's just me personally. I like the ability to control, and being small allows me that control to make choices and make changes quickly. And the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where we water it. So just make sure you keep planting good seeds. We're not responsible for the harvest, we're responsible for the seeds. So just keep planting those good seeds and just keep trusting. Know they're gonna take off. You're gonna see the fruits of your good labor. Good, all right, well that's everything I have on my short list here. So cash is king. Dave Randolph, you're so right. I know Dave, in talking about Dave Ramsey, for those of you who want to explore a great program on just money management and how to talk to your spouses and your family and your kids and your grandkids. Highly recommend Dave Ramsey's program. And he's giving away the information and the education right now for free. He'll do a 14-day free trial. And my husband and I just had fun going through his Financial Peace University. It's 9 lessons, 1 hour each. And we just thought it was fun to just gain the knowledge and be able to share it with our child and those in our sphere of influence. So very fun. All right, thank you for that. Thank you that was just posted. And thank you, Christopher. Any other questions? And if you want to post it or if you want to raise a hand, we can unmute you. But oh, thank you, Jim, for that, that applause.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You're such a wealth of knowledge, and we really appreciate you as a member and just for sharing all your experience and everything that you have. You just it's always just a thrill to have you and hear you talk.
My pleasure, John, and thank you to you and to the whole board for keeping our wonderful association together, especially during this time, and sure look forward to seeing everybody in person soon. And until then, we have this great opportunity to see each other and be with each other wherever we are and wearing whatever we want.
It's fun to see everybody's living room and what we actually look like at home.
Yes, that's right. Good. Well, thank you all.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye now.